Ah yes, nostalgia. Probably one of the strongest emotions the human race has. As you get older and as time moves forward, you start looking back at the past, longing for something that you felt before. And in my case, that is Dokkan content in 2016.
I did it! I know I threw my shirt off.
You can call me an old head all you like, but I genuinely think 2016 through 2019 was by far one of the best eras for Dokkan Battle content creators. Hell, even content creators like Afro Sinju hopped on the Dokkan Battle bandwagon.
Let's go, Gina!
It was an absolute crazy time for Dokkan Battle YouTube. Why does it kind of suck now though?
Hey man, do you want everyone to kick your ass? You need to take that back now.
Okay, sorry. Well, if you clicked on this video, you're probably wondering that too. And luckily for you, that's exactly what I plan to uncover in the rise and fall of Dokkan Battle content on YouTube. When you think about who the grandfather of Dokkan content is, 4 creators come to mind: Nanogenics, Rhymestyle, D-Free, and the Living Ichigo. All of these YouTubers have played a massive part in how Dokkan content is constructed today. But without a shadow of a doubt, there is one YouTuber throughout this list who has put Dokkan Battle on the map and allowed it to foster the audience it has on YouTube. That creator being none other than Rhymestyle. Alright, Appel Dokkan.
Yo,
who would
what's
you
up,
say
man?
the grandfather of Dokkan content is?
But if we're talking about who I actually like, who I think is one of like the most impactful ones, it's probably like Rhyme. Either Rhyme or Nano. It's one of the two.
Who inspired you to make Dokkan content?
Oh, okay, yeah, there you go. It's just Rhyme and Nano, basically.
Okay, cool. I wanted to ask you, first off, who do you think the grandfather of Dokkan content is? Like, who do you think the
like
D1
the
is?
OG
Yeah,
OG?
yeah, the D1.
Now this is crazy because for a few reasons. A, I know someone you're gonna talk to at some point is gonna agree with me. B, this person like vehemently talks shit about Dokkan now.
Seriously?
And it's Rhymestyle, I think.
It's very clear how big an influence Rhymestyle has had on the Dokkan Battle community. But who is he, and why is he looked at so fondly and regarded as one of the best to ever do it? Dino has been a part of the YouTube scene since about 2011, creating videos about pretty much anything you can think of when he first started out, eventually finding success through a lot of the Dragon Ball content he would produce, like Dragon Block C, and by far one of the biggest examples of success on his channel, his Xenoverse gameplay videos, in which he would provide tutorials or just generally play the game. Eventually being made aware of the game, Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle, he would soon begin to shift his attention towards the brand new Dragon Ball game. With Rhymestyle's growing audience, soon Dokkan Battle would be put in front of the eyes of many, building the foundation of what Dokkan content's creators would be today.
Well, I got into Dokkan. I was uploading Xenoverse 1, and I wanted to look up how to become Super Saiyan, I believe is what it was. And I, found Rhymestyle, and then I, ended up getting recommended his videos to Dokkan, or clicked them myself, or something like that. And then bam, there you go. I'm in Dokkan. 500 years later. There we go.
I keep saying this and it kind of sounds corny, but like the grandfather of Dokkan content, like who's the person who put Dokkan Battle on the map?
I mean, Rhyme is who would come to mind for me. It's Rhyme. It's like I know Rhyme has like moved away from Dokkan and stuff like that, but judging by everything I saw at the time and stuff like that, it feels like he was definitely the grandfather of this kind of like community. I think so. Rhyme for sure.
And maybe a little bit biased, but I had 3 creators that I watched consistently, and that was Omega Pro, D-Free, and Rhyme. And so I think in terms of who had the most impact on fostering the community, and like, there's no way to answer this to not, I guess, out someone. So I don't mean any offense to any other creator, but to me, from me, this is pre-Nanogenics being a creator. It would be, my answer would easily be Rhyme.
I wanted to ask you, number one, who do you think the main person is who fostered the Dokkan Battle community on YouTube?
That fostered it? Rhyme was the first one. I think he was the first person to, well, there was Rhyme, I think for old Dokkan, because I've been watching or playing Dokkan since 7 months of global. Okay. So I think Gogeta had already happened on JP at that time frame. But when I started watching, it was the same time frame. I got into it and I was like, oh, let me watch some YouTube videos on it, and then I got hooked immediately. I think Rhyme 100%. And then I don't know if D-Free was, I think he was back then, one of the also first ones as well. Living Ichigo, I remember him. He did made a lot of content. And D-Monty. I think those 4 a lot were like the huge ones. And then I think a little bit more, like, I think probably around the same time frame, Nano came up. And then Nano and Rhyme started doing the collabs and stuff. And that was That was great. Great era.
And just like that, the Dokkan Battle community was born, with plenty of other creators coming into the scene to provide content for the viewers interested in the game. And while there are many other creators who started even before Rhyme, it would be insane for me not to at least mention one other creator who helped foster this community, the Living Ichigo.
I think really the first person that was popping off in terms of that was Living Ichigo. I mean, I remember one of the first videos that I saw was the Dokkan Broly event, right? Like back in the day, that was like the hardest thing imaginable.
For me, how I started, you know, getting into, because originally when I first played Dokkan, I didn't like it. I played it, I dropped it, and then the person that pretty much got me into making videos of it was actually Living Ichigo.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure it was the same for a lot of people. You know, they got back into the game and that space around that time and everything. So, you know, this is when STR Gogeta was like the god, and dude, you had to be there literally. He carried every event. But anywho, yes, Living Ichigo for me was pretty much like the start of actually wanting to make content of the game.
Living Ichigo was uploading Dokkan Battle content before really any other Dokkan Battle YouTuber at the time, and doing it consistently, being one of the few creators to actually do multi-summons in their videos, and provide very informative content at the time. If you wanted fun and engaging content, while also being a little informed as to what was happening in the game, Rhymestyle's channel was the place to go. But if you generally just wanted more information on how the game worked, the Living Ichigo was the guy to go to.
Ryan was always the fun guy.
Yep.
He's doing it, you know, like I'm doing summons. I'm not, you know, he'll do a boss event. If he gets destroyed, he's like, oh, whatever, you know. He was having fun with it. I was trying to get super into the weeds with the game. Like, okay, this is the team you need to do. Run this event with that. And I made a lot of like, I know a very popular build guide I did was for a Broly video.
Yes, I was just
Broly videos. Yeah, so
I was just about to bring that up.
There's
And for a while, this is how things were, until around 2016. That's right, baby. The best era for Dokkan Battle content has finally arrived. With already pre-established Dokkan Battle YouTubers and brand new ones coming into the mix, the content was endless. So what made Dokkan Battle content so much more fun and engaging back then compared to what it is today? Well, to answer that, I'd like to take you guys back in time. A time in which Dokkan Battle was a way worse game. On the game's release, and even throughout 2016, there was very little content in the actual game, with some of the most difficult events being Dokkan events, something that people don't even consider to be content at all nowadays. But at the time, these events drove players crazy. So much, in fact, that Dokkan Battle YouTubers who knew a lot about the game were succeeding on the platform, building some of the most obscure teams by today's standards, just to be able to beat one event in particular. That event being STR Broly's. STR Broly's event was so difficult at the time, it genuinely made a lot of players quit the game, but it also made a lot of creators think outside the box with their team builds. That is until the release of STR Super Gogeta for the first year anniversary, a legendary release that destroyed the game at the time. And as new characters came out, eventually the Dokkan events just became easier and easier. While understanding how the game worked and knowing how to build teams worked well in the favor of the content creators at the time, they needed to mix things up. This is where I'd like to introduce you guys to summon battles, a concept in which content creators would go head to head in trying their best to pull the new characters first. Just like summon collabs nowadays, but with a more competitive twist to it. And for years, made for some of the most popular videos on Dokkan Battle YouTube. While some YouTubers at the time just streamed their summons, YouTubers like Rhymestyle had better plans with how the format worked, introducing YouTubers like D-Free and newer YouTubers like Nanogenics into their videos, leading to some of the most iconic clips this community has seen.
I smell a Super Saiyan 3 actually. I smell a Super Saiyan 3 on this one. I smell a Super Saiyan 3! I smell a Super Saiyan 3! Oh! No, actually, I'm gonna let people see it first. Is it it? Yes! 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 Oh! Are you joking me? Holy shit! Oh! Oh! But for some reason, being able to open that pack and like seeing what you get, it's like, oh my god, oh, it's a freaking Zarbon. Oh, it's a freaking, you know, whatever. Oh snap, it's a Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta. There's something about that that's very exciting about it.
While dual summons were a very fun concept, that wasn't just the only thing happening back then. Dokkan Battle races also proved to be very popular in that era of Dokkan Battle content, a video concept almost every Dokkan Battle YouTuber did at the time, where yet again 2 or more creators would be put up against each other in the various events Dokkan Battle had, one of the most popular being Boss Rush, with both of these video concepts being something viewers wanted to follow. If a creator pulled a new LR, well, that just means that the race that they might have is going to be a lot more exciting. And if they didn't, well, lots of memes were made out of it, with one of the biggest examples being the Nano LR Gen X arc.
I'm not even joking, Nano. I'm not even joking.
What
Oh my god.
Black? Goku Black? Are you serious?
Like seriously, no matter how much he summoned, he could not pull an LR. And all this did was make it way more exciting to watch his summon videos. And it doesn't even stop there, because some creators would implement skits into their videos, elevating Dokkan Battle content way ahead of its time.
Why is it out of focus?
All right, so we got the gaming clock here with us. It's kind of crazy. Never thought I'd get the chance to do this, so I'm grateful. Yeah, so I'm doing a video right now about like the rise and fall of Dokkan content, and how much it has changed. And I would honestly even say like plateaued since it first kind of got popular on YouTube around like 2015, 2016 to like the 2019 sort of era. And I wanted to ask you, because you were one of the older Dokkan YouTubers around the time you were putting out a lot of content and some really interesting concepts. So
it's funny because like I was like I remember I was on holiday and I was just kind of searching for like Dragon Ball games on my phone, and the majority of them were just like, you know, knockoffs that random people would make. But then one day, I think it was either 2015 or 2016, when I first started, like I first saw it on the, you know, the App Store, and I downloaded it, and I didn't really like it because it was just, you know, popping a bunch of bubbles. But then, you know, eventually I did re-download it, and I got really into it. But during that period, I was making like different types of Dragon Ball content, like Raging Blast videos.
I think you started out with Raging Blast, right?
Yeah, it was like Raging Blast videos. I'll talk about the Dragon Ball Super anime as well. This was back during the, you know, the tournament between Universe 6 and Universe 7, I believe it was. That's mainly what I was doing, and I was aware of these people, but I always had an interest in making content to begin with. So, you know, there was this focus on just Dragon Ball, right? Just it wasn't entirely on Dokkan. It was, you know, Dragon Ball Super. It was maybe Raging Blast videos.
I, as a creator, have a lot of respect for somebody like Alex. It's rare to see somebody, especially nowadays, who's put as much love and effort into the content that they made. And I don't think I'm alone in saying that Alex's content brings you back to when Dokkan Battle was a fresh game and making content was a lot more fun and engaging. Yeah, I think taking a look at the entire timeline of like every single bit of Dokkan YouTube, you can learn something from like most of them. Like I said, I always say, I think the Gaming Claw's content was way ahead of its time. Like if his content was out,
yes,
like,
he was great. He was incredible. 100%. The title is, it eludes me, but he did something. It was like a super showcase or super breakdown or something like that. An AGL Super Vegito. Like I would maybe recommend looking at that. Like he was definitely ahead of his time. Very creative for sure. 100%.
Yeah.
I remember there was one time Alex was working on a video and he put so much effort into this video, but unfortunately he covered a character that at that point was a few months old, and it was such a good video. And I remember he was like, I was like, this is one of the better videos we've seen made in this space. And I don't know if it ever ended up coming back for him or not, but it didn't do well upon release. And I was so sad because like, this is such a damn good video. This deserves so many more views than it got.
I know exactly the video you're talking about. It's the one where he was covering AGL
Super Vegito. Yes. Yep. It was creative, informative.
I think it's important to note that obviously like you are considered one of the older Dokkan Battle YouTubers. People who like I think I see a Dokkan Battle YouTuber like Diddy Sauce, and I kind of see the Gaming Claw in some of the content that Diddy Sauce posts. Like you were, at least to me, very well known for like the type of content that you did. You would implement skits, you would put on a character, and that character would be, you know, what made your content super entertaining. How does it feel to know that there are people in the community now who can look at your content and the stuff that you've done and be like, you know what, I really like this. This is super cool. I want to improve on this idea and push out content of my own.
One of the, I think that he probably, Diddy specifically, he does the randomizer videos, right? And I think back in the day, I used to call them the roulette wheel or something like that. So it's a slightly different name, but I think it's a good thing that people can, you know, sort of take ideas, you know, make them their own and, you know, bet them if that's what what they want to do. I'm not as big in the community as I used to be, and I would imagine that a lot of the community now probably wouldn't even necessarily recognize me. Maybe some of my older content, but yeah, I mean, obviously the influence is there in some ways.
In 2016 through 2017, it felt like everything was falling into place. An ongoing anime for Dragon Ball Super was airing, and the game was continuously improving, implementing categories which led to even more fun videos. All in all, everything that had happened when it came to Dokkan Battle in 2016 was almost perfect. Creators were having fun and collaborating. Skits were being made and put into videos, and newer creators were allowed time in the spotlight as well. And following that, a new era for Dokkan Battle content would begin, one in which many creators think is the beginning of its plateau on YouTube. This shit sucks. The Truth DT is a phenomenal content creator. While he's been making content for a long time now, it feels like his presence within the Dokkan Battle community happened out of nowhere. Truth came in and for a while was doing some of the same stuff a lot of other content creators were doing at the time. Races, summon collabs, and even implementing some skits into his videos. But all of this fell under a personality the Dokkan Battle community hadn't seen at the time. Truth came in and made anything he did unique, just by simply being Truth. It felt like the community fell in love with him instantly. You've been streaming and stuff like that since 3rd year anniversary. I wanted to ask you, is there a content creator, who was around in 2016 through 2015 through like 2019 who inspired you to make Dokkan content or want to push to be a Dokkan YouTuber?
I mean, Truth. I've been friends with Truth for so long. I mean, I've known the guy for a very long time, and he always told me to just do it. He was like my number one pusher to like get me to do stuff, and I love Truth so much. I owe him a lot because he would always give me like some nice words to like push me and do things, as well as Nano. I mean, seeing Nano's and Ryan's content back then was amazing.
Truth? No way, dude. He calls me like dumb like all the time, man. There's no, I don't believe that.
I mean, nowadays, yeah, he says that, but he also still like he says it with love. Like you can tell, like
yeah, for sure.
He actually is like he does give me some kind words to push me and motivate me, and like bro, you gotta get out of your ass and start grinding, man. Like you gotta get on that shit. I know you can do it. I'm like,
yeah,
all right.
People don't understand this man, Truth, dude. He is a behemoth. Like there are people that watch Dokkan and they only watch him. They're not going to a Nano video. They're not going to a Ditto. They want the Truth breakdown. Is this guy good? Is he not? They want that type of content.
Yep.
And like he's still kind of the juggernaut like of Dokkan. Like the Truth videos are always gonna bang, especially new character, new fusion. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah. Yeah, Truth is doing very well, and I mean, I wish that man the best.
And deserved, bro. The man uploads like 6 videos a day. Jesus Christ, bro.
Videos,
like,
man.
I could never.
Truth is like an anomaly to me, man. 6 videos a day, like, and
no, literally, I will give you. I don't know if you guys know this. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good.
So Anime Expo 2019 is when I first met up with everyone in person and whatnot. It was the Truth, Afro, a lot of other creators and whatnot, even Pineapple. So during the whole time we were at the convention, because I went there, I think all 4 days. I don't think the boys did, but Truth was still recording when we were there. He was literally upstairs, the room above, while we were eating, just chilling, vibing. he was recording. I'm like, this man work ethic is insane.
Truth
like
never stops, man. And I keep telling myself, it's like, man, he's got to get sick of it at some point. There's like no way. And I mean, I talked to him literally just yesterday. I think it was yesterday night. He was like, nah, man, I love Dokkan Battle, man. I can't get enough of this game. And I'm like,
no, it shows. He really loves the game. Like I watch a lot of his Dokkan Battle videos, and it shows how much passion he has for the game, knowing units, knowing teams, and calling people stupid for calling, thinking Vegeta Blue is actually a good unit. He's sus unit, but anywho. But yeah, like he loves it, and it actually shows.
Yeah, I think his interaction with the community definitely like amplifies that a little bit more. Because I feel like if it was just Dokkan alone, things would be like, oh, okay, But you have people to feed, to give you opinions and stuff like that.
Like, he'll make like some tier list and other people's not tier list, but I forget what it'll be called. When people make their own list.
The reaction.
The certain type of reaction videos where it's like, okay, like the unpopular opinion ones. Where people have like a bad takes. Community takes, like the bad takes, man. Like, yo, he's interactive with the community. It's really dumb. That's really something you would like to see, especially if you're a viewer and it's like, oh, I like this creator and he's actually like reaching out to the community and whatnot. And although it's like, even if it's like slamming on people's takes, but he's still, he's still, just making content of it for the community and stuff. So,
so I have Truth with me, probably one of the biggest, well, actually the biggest Dokkan Battle YouTuber known today. Truth.
I also have one of the higher sub counts.
Oh, dude, whatever, man. Fuck
it was a weight joke. I was laughing about that. Yeah, I guess here, chat. He's a little slow today. I guess I don't know.
It's 4 a.m. Do you think that you would agree if I said that people will take a look at your channel and they see like how successful you've become doing what you do on YouTube, and they take that to heart? Like they're like, you know what? I mean, Truth's doing just showcase content. I'm specifically, this is what works. I'm specifically going to do this for YouTube.
Okay. Would people like look at that? Yes. I mean, people would look at me and think like that is kind of like a recipe for success, or like how to kind of like grow or something like that, for sure.
Truth is an anomaly to me, because once he entered the Dokkan Battle community, it seemed like he flipped it on its head. This humble and energetic personality took what made Dokkan Battle content good and made it feel fresh and new again. While Dokkan races and summon collabs were commonplace on Truth's channel when he first got his foot in the door in the Dokkan Battle community, there's no doubt that Truth plays a massive part in how Dokkan Battle content is constructed today.
So what you could say is maybe nowadays it's less personality driven by a lot of creators, right? Like it's back then it's races and summon collabs and stuff like that. It's like, I came on the scene and it's like, I don't know, before I started like Rainbow and everything, people weren't really doing that, right? Like it's like all the videos back then was like, they'd be doing single summon videos.
Yeah.
And then I just started, I kind of just went all the way. And then now that's kind of like the standard is like rainbows and stuff like that. So like, I guess you could probably point at me for kind of the path it's taken, but
Truth put a big emphasis on rainbowing characters, beginning to spend thousands of stones on banners to be able to do so. Despite some videos already being a thing in the community, it wasn't common for a creator to go until a unit was rainbowed on a banner. This sparked a lot of interest in Truth's content, as it became increasingly more common to look at a rainbow character on his channel. While general interest in races and summons still remained, content started to shift to showcasing the summonable characters and the toughest content at the time. The Truth DT provided plenty of consistent updates on Dokkan Battle news, what was happening on Twitter, and plenty of other updates, eventually getting to the point where he would upload multiple videos a day. Even if it was the smallest update, you could expect Truth to make a video on it. And while Truth wasn't the only Dokkan Battle YouTuber to make this kind of content, he was by far one of the fastest to be able to push out the videos. That is, of course, if we forget that private servers existed even then. Private servers have been a point of contention within the Dokkan Battle community forever now. But no matter what you think about private servers right now, there is absolutely no denying the impact they've had on Dokkan Battle content.
I mean, we could get into this. I don't really want to talk about private server stuff too much, but private server stuff killed the soul of Dokkan. Like it did, right? So it's like back then, people were not using that. Like it was not, there were not videos and shit like that. It's like your characters that you summoned, you grinded up, you like got, that was like what the content was on. And then eventually it became kind of just more like you know, like a printing press of like next unit, Rainbow, Max Links once that came out, all that type of stuff.
Rhyme is like a creator who's been far and like he's over the game. And a little birdie tells me, I don't know how you feel about this. You're very quiet on this topic, but a little birdie tells me that private servers also has something to do with it.
I just don't really talk about it because I just don't really care. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's fair.
So okay, so I guess to talk about that side of things, part of the reason that I've made, I guess, lesser videos on Dokkan is because some of the videos I used to make sort of got killed by the fact that private servers exist. Like, I used to make 100% showcase videos. That was the thing that I did. I used to do the things where we would take on the EZA, but taking on the EZA really meant nothing. Like, it was really hard at first, and then it got really easy, right? Like that first one against Super Saiyan 3 Goku and Broly and all of those back then, those first EZA stages, like those were really difficult. And like those types of videos got less interesting as the content itself got more easy. Like, why do you want to watch someone take those on if they're that easy to beat, you know?
Right.
And so from a similar standpoint, I talk to Truth about this all the time, but like he did shake up the community probably more than any other creator. I think that's like a substantial way to say that, because at least for me and a lot of the content that I made, I had to adapt to him being there. It's sort of like an adaptation to things. And so with the private servers, I mean, yeah, that definitely killed like Dino's interest, because why would you want to have to summon for a character that then use them on your channel when someone else just got through using them 4 days ago for free, way faster, and now everyone's already seen what they were interested in before. Like, we very clearly saw like a decrease in our views when private servers got more popularized, because there's only a subsection of the community that's going to care enough to watch that unit being used by you as a creator versus just watching the unit be used, right? So if you can get the video out and you're a creator they want to see use it, and they also get to see the character being used at the same time for the first time, great, that's going to do really well. But then if you're putting it out 3 or 4 days later, then the person watching that either A, hasn't seen the other video, or B, they want to see it from you specifically, but now you're looking at a much smaller subset of viewers.
In an era of Dokkan Battle content where showcases are very popular, having access to a private server helped channels out immensely, as typically you were able to get content out a lot faster than somebody who didn't. This is where content creators like DBZ World, or Dokkan World as you guys know them today, had a massive opportunity to shine, as the content he provided showed off characters in their absolute best situations at 100%, mixed in with zero commentary. People who specifically wanted to see characters at their best had a channel to go to, one that provided viewers with an early access showcase of new characters at the time. With the introduction of private server content to YouTube, it added a new layer of competition to the scene, and while competition usually isn't a bad thing, it ended up being almost detrimental to Dokkan Battle YouTube at the time. While content before was having fun, collaborating with other content creators, and generally just trying to enjoy the game, YouTube became how fast you can push out a video on new releases, making some of the YouTubers already pre-established in the community eventually fizzle out of Dokkan Battle YouTube. Throughout the existence of private servers, Rhyme Style seemed to get more and more unenthused about Dokkan Battle content, with him eventually leaving in 2021. And for a while, things were looking grim for Dokkan Battle YouTube. That is, until just a year later, with the introduction of a new YouTuber under the name of Diddy Sauce. While Diddy Sauce had been streaming Dokkan Battle content for years at this point, with the help of pre-established content creators in the scene pushing him to make a channel, eventually in early 2022, he did, providing a new spin on how Dokkan Battle content was formatted at the time, with things like randomizer videos, and generally just a brand new kind of energy brought to the Dokkan Battle community, while also collabing with other content creators like Slavix, providing more room for other content creators to grow. As it stands, it feels like Diddy Sauce brought us back to when Dokkan Battle content was fun and fresh in 2016, with races, collabs, summon videos, and way more. And while the content Diddy Sauce, Nano, and Slavix made was fun, engaging, and generally pretty original, you can only format a game like Dokkan Battle so many different ways, until eventually it gets boring. With Diddy Sauce, Slavix, and Nano eventually playing a variety of different games on their channel, rather than just Dokkan Battle. That brings us to today. Why is it that so many Dokkan Battle content creators who used to make videos in the past eventually shifted their attention to other games? And while there are many theories in the community as to why that might be the case, I decided to skip all the theorizing and directly ask the YouTubers themselves. You've seen like how the YouTube landscape has been, especially for the Dokkan Battle scene, for like a while. You've been here forever. What are your opinions on what it is today compared to what it used to be? Do you think it's like worse? Do you think it's better? Or maybe you just don't really have any thoughts on it at all?
No, I definitely have thoughts on it. I think that it is better in some aspects and worse in others, if that makes sense. Because I think also it's part of the game too, because I think that there is high interest in the things that are actually interesting and the lowest of interest we've ever seen in the things that aren't interesting, right? Like, you're doing this the week that we got a DFE Lord Slug, and back in the day, it really didn't matter who the character was. If you covered that character, at least for me on my channel, like, it would do pretty substantial. I just saw the worst ever reaction views I've ever had on a Dokkan reaction, literally ever. I would say the Slug video is doing worse than any of the ones I've ever covered. So we're talking about like 100K sub nanogenics, 200K, 300K, all the way to now with almost 1.1. Like, that video did worse than any other Dokkan like news. Look at this new character video I've literally ever seen. But then, like, on the flip side, when it's hype, like, people still engage and still want to watch. So I think it's just from a standpoint of that they've diluted the character selection so much. DFEs are probably the least interesting they've ever been because we just get so many LRs. Kits are, I don't know. I think not to put the blame back on the game, but I think some of the aspect of it is the game itself, right? And I see True say this all the time, but I also think it's also part of the fact that the game is just getting old. And so, like, there's just going to be a lack of interest across the board sometimes because it is a very old game.
Okay. When you say current climate, because I'm not one of these kids who go, oh, back in 2017, 500 years ago, the game was so good. Like, the game was terrible. Everything was way worse back then. It's just now people have played the game for 8 years, 9 years. You know, that is what it is. They're burned out. They're tired. It's like now it's more of like an archaic game compared to some new gotchas. It's just more stuff like that. It's just Dokkan has been around forever. That's all it is. Like, modern Dokkan YouTube is not. I don't think I'd agree that it's worse than it ever has been, or the game is. It's just it's a thing that's been going on for years, right? Again, well, when I first got into Dokkan, like the era you're talking about, that's before like Xenoverse 2 wasn't even out at the time, right? It's Xenoverse 1. So
I don't think that this era of like Dokkan content is like bad or anything like that. I feel like Dokkan content is like stagnant right now. Like, there's you and then there's Dokkan World, and
yeah, but I mean I don't know how to say this, but I mean that is on others to solve that problem. I mean, again, it's no, you know, like, people have to come up with their own style, their own format. Just trying to do like the exact same thing that me or Dokkan World does or something like that, like, it's not gonna cut it.
Everyone tries to make it this big thing, like a think piece. I think there's just one simple answer. Dokkan is old. Right at the 10th anniversary. This game is old. People have been playing this game. Dude, we're about, assuming you were playing from the jump, we're about to have been playing this game for a decade. Not many games can get that playtime out of someone, let alone a mobile game. So I can't really be mad at the people that are like, yeah, bro, I'm sick of grabbing orbs. I'm sick of reading passives, bro. Like, I'm over it.
I can understand, like, I don't think I'll ever get tired of playing Dokkan, but like, there was a point where I was like, man, I do not want to sit here and record a video. Like, you can only say like, hey, dude, their attack stat is this much, like only a certain amount of times a day.
I don't know if I would say it was better, but it might have been more enjoyable back then because it was fresh and it was new. So because it was fresh and new, like, people like, oh my God, yeah, this is like a whole new thing. Like, people are starting to get into it, and like, it's like, oh, this is awesome. And people are still just finding out about Dokkan, and they're like, you know, getting super into it. And then, you know, I feel like because it was fresh, it was super nice to watch, and it was a whole new thing. Like, Dokkan collabs were a whole new thing. Like, the single summon battles of like you know, dude, back and forth the single summons. That was, you know, that was the first step. That was the first step of everything. So of course it's gonna be like nice and fresh, and it was super enjoyable. If we're comparing to now it's definitely way more stale, I would feel like. And I think that's also what comes with the releases of some of the units and where we are with Dokkan. I mean, it's also, you know, the game's almost 10 years old. Like, it's bound to happen. We don't have, like, obviously there's a whole new, like, you know, people coming in and playing the game, but is there really that much more as there was back then? Where nowadays, I don't know, man, it's 10 years old. Like, people are probably like, technically Dragon Ball Legends is the newer, like, game, and it's 3D. I feel like for new people, that probably is like more appealing.
For me,
The landscape, I don't think there's too much because back then we had to create our own content. We didn't have Red Zone, we didn't have Supreme, Magnificent Battle, we didn't have the content, included in the game. We had to do our own thing. That's where I think D-Free and Rhyme Style started with the Dokkan Racing, and then the whole community just jumped on it. And that's how we pretty much, everyone else was doing it and everything. It was something for us to do because there was not much to go off of back in those times, right? So the racing was definitely big. I enjoyed it. That was honestly my favorite part of Dokkan, was just playing with others and just doing the racing and just being competitive and having that nature within the community and stuff. But right now, with the game actually having some substance, right? Some content you can go off of. I think it's definitely enjoyable, but I definitely miss those. My favorite, like I said, my favorite part of the content was more so just playing with other people and whatnot. Like I know like The Truth, Nano, and Toon do like the randomizers and whatnot. But I think just because we had to make something out of nothing back then, it was definitely different.
Surprise, surprise. Some of the most well-known content creators in the Dokkan Battle community space find content on the game to be quite stale at the moment. But that doesn't mean it has to be forever. While this entire video has been me comparing Dokkan Battle content now to 2016, that doesn't necessarily mean I wanted to go back to that time, but it has made me sad to see its plateau throughout the years. There are so many creators out there, big and small, with plenty of ideas and creativity that they can bring to this community, and some have already put that vision in motion. In regards to anything in life, don't just do what's working now, but try your best to push the envelope and be the guy people look up to and get inspiration from in the future. You could be the next big name in this community, but you're gonna have to push for something groundbreaking. And with that, I wish you the best of luck.
Go look outside of the gaming space and see what people are doing for videos, right? And that are doing really well. Like, this is super random, but is there a way that you could apply a Ryan Trahan formula to Dokkan? Like, I know that sounds crazy, but like, if you have the will and you want to try to break onto the scene, maybe you can find a way.
I would imagine that there would be YouTubers who might be like inspired, like they would see, maybe not even like my content anymore, right? But maybe they see like, Mass Thinga or Toon Rami or something. Toon Rami's very fun, a lot of personality, does like his, kind of like his voice acting and stuff like that in these videos. So like, I could see Toon Rami being direct inspiration for many like new YouTubers coming up. And I mean, I would say, if that's how you get your foot in the door for YouTube, sure. But, you can, branch out, but follow most what you're having fun. Because if you're just going to try and do Dokkan to try and, get to like a big growth level, but you're not having fun, it's just not going to work. You're eventually just going to crash out, is what happens.
Like, so much of your validation is just going to come from the numbers, and it can be discouraging. But if you try to enjoy the content that you are putting out instead of focusing on how well it performs, then I think you will have an easier time creating a solid foundation that isn't entirely reliant on the validation from the figures that you are going to see. My suggestion is just to try and not look at the numbers. Like, literally do not look at the numbers. And, just upload content that you enjoy uploading. And, if you get that lucky break, then, just ride the wave.
For the people watching, if you have any motivation or want to do YouTube, do it. There's nothing stopping you. The first thing that you have to do is literally just start. That's the biggest hurdle. It's honestly, I'm at a hurdle right now because I want to start a second channel. I'm just like, I just got to do it. I just got to do it. So if you want to do it, do it. It just, all you have to do is just stay at it and just keep on grinding. Think of some ideas and, look at other creators, see like who's actually doing like, successful on stuff on like, not even just Dokkan or whatever you want to do. Take in the information of what you're given and like what makes them do good, kind of thing.
No. Don't listen to that bull crap. Just copy truth and you'll always succeed, guys.
True. Yeah. I'm going to do a 55% showcase right after this. So.
Yeah, 55% link level 1 showcase.
Yeah.
With that said, thank you guys all for watching. It really means the world to me if even one person stayed this far into the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please, if you're new here, like and subscribe. I'm going to try and elevate the way I do content, so there will be more of this in the future. Unless you guys think it's crap, then probably not. A massive thank you to the people who helped with the interviews in this video, helped me get into contact with creators I originally would never have had the chance to talk to. It genuinely meant a lot, and I hope it elevated this video to new heights. Thank you all. I love this community. I love making videos like this. So like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.
Okay. All right. You can take my pee-pee out of your mouth. It's all
Shut
good.
up!
And now, chat. The reason I'll talk to him like that is because, like, you know, the voice call starts and he's taking shots and stuff like that. Like, the recording starts and he's on his knees for me, but he presses that button and he, you know, the jokes are coming out.